Aloha, it's Kellie Hosaka. Today I'm gonna talk about communication, or should I say miscommunication? Because so much, I tell you, of relationships or success in business, what I have seen, and oh boy have I learned it from experience, is it's just miscommunication. You know, one thing when I started my home-based business in 1995 was I didn't understand how come people didn't think that I cared, because I gave them love like crazy. And then they would be upset with me, or not happy with me, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't give any more. I'm like giving you everything, right? You know what I learned after? I thought everybody thought like me, and I thought everybody's needs were like mine. You know, I know that sounds naive today, but I was younger, and remember, I had none of those personal development education, nothing, right? I was just working all the time. So I started to study. And what I found was there's four basically different personality types. Now you can take all of those fancy tests, and then they can give you more detail where they break all four quadrants down into other four quadrants. And that's great because that gets real specific. But for me, once I understood it, and the interesting thing is I actually learned it in the corporate world initially. I just didn't understand it so well still, right? Is that there's basically four different types of people, and I like people to draw. So draw like, on your paper like this. Okay, and so what you're going to do is you have four quadrants, right? And what happens is that people fall in generally one dominant quadrant, and they usually have one secondary quadrant, okay? And all you have to do, I do a fast analysis, and please know this is just really fast. I just do it so that I can identify quickly. After a while, you start to know the traits of every personality type. By the way, if you want to know, I created a test on Facebook, so you can go take it. It's called the 4-quadrant personality test, and it's just really basic, but it at least gives you an idea of what quadrant you're in and what quadrant maybe other people that you're dealing with are in. So first is on the top here, write the word fast, okay? And on the bottom here, write the word slow. And then on this side, write the word non-emotional, and on this side, write the word emotional. So what's going to happen then is you're going to have these quadrants, and you're going to fall into one of them as a dominant. So, for example, do you talk fast? Do you walk fast? Are you impatient? Things like that. And so if the answer is yes, then already you're on the top, you see? And if you walk slow or talk slow, by the way, it doesn't mean slow. It just means that you're more analytical, like you want to think about things. You take time to make sure you understand every step. You're just more meticulous at things, and it's all great. All four quadrants are great if you understand the strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so that's about. Now on this side, when I said non-emotional, so in general, like, do you get emotional about stuff? Or are you like pretty even? Generally men tend to be more even than women. Women tend to be more emotional, right? So look at that, and then put yourself in a quadrant. And that's kind of like, will give you an idea of where you are. But then the other thing is you want to look at where everybody else is, then you might be having a challenge with communicating. And you'll see why, because they're in a different quadrant than you. Once I understood that, I thought, oh my gosh, because their needs are very different from mine. And so like for myself, I was one before anyway to be very, I moved fast, and I wanted it done fast, and I, thought it was, remember I was talking about in another video that I had done, is I was talking about power versus force, and it was like a very pushy type of personality that I was portraying in the beginning of my career. And so that's a very directive type of personality where you're moving fast but you're not emotional, right? If you're moving fast and you're emotional, you're more of an expressive personality. If you're moving slow and you're not emotional, that's a more analytical personality. And if you're moving slow and you're emotional, that's an amiable personality. And see, every quadrant had different needs. So, once you understand that there are, then you can move on to understand what your needs are, what you're looking for, and what the other person needs are and what they're looking for. And then you start to say, oh my goodness, I get it. Because their need, for example, is to be loved, or their need is to get results, or their need is to make sure everything's right, or their need is to have fun. And once you understand those quadrants, I tell you, it's like a magic lamp opened up, because it's so quite simple. Honestly, for me, it was like, the light bulb and a half. And I love that, because once I really understood where I was coming from and I really understood where the other person was coming from, very, very simple for me to communicate. And then if I was miscommunicating, very easy to change my communication so that I would help them and communicate properly for them. So, thanks so much for listening today. Take care. Aloha.